Welcome back to DCR Rails, and today I'm outside of my garage because I wanted to show you my layout. So let's open the door and we'll take a closer look at the Smuteye Central. I've been working on it for about a couple years now out here in the garage, but unfortunately the summer and the winter months gets pretty hot and cold, so I only work on it about half the year. So let's take a closer look at the Smuteye Central, shall we? Here it is, the Smuteye Central. And I was fixated on a tabletop because my first layout was an 8x4 piece of plywood, had a figure 8 with an oval around it, and that was my first layout. Well, when I got to building this and thinking about it, I thought, well, the table needs to be bigger. So I made it 10 feet long and 6 feet wide, with the idea that about the 2 feet would be what I'd be reaching in on, and in the middle of it would be mountains and towns and that, but the trains would run around on the outer edge of the thing. That's all well and good, except I've since learned, isn't it how it always works? I since learned that you can put it in the room along the walls, and it takes up about the same amount of space as a layout in the middle of the floor, because you have to walk around it. But if you put it on the walls, you can be in the middle of it, and that would give me more track to run. So if I ever do another layout, I'll put it in the middle, I'll put it on the walls, and I'll be in the middle of the layout, and that'll give me much more running room. But I designed this with wheels. Now the reason being is I wanted to be able to wheel the layout into the middle of the garage, pull the car out, and run trains, and then when I'm done I can slide it back against the wall and bring the car back in. Well, there's unused space there, you know, so I stacked boxes and all kinds of stuff under it, and the weight under the layout made the layout heavier, and the wheels couldn't handle the added weight that I put on it, because originally I thought, well, they're not going to be very heavy, these lightweight wheels will work. I didn't take into account that I was going to put storage on the thing, so I had to order me some casters. So the casters came. Opened the box up, here they were, 2-inch casters, and so I jacked the layout up with the car jack, pulled off the wheels, installed the casters, and so much better. In fact, the 2-inch casters make it easier to roll in and out, so that's a plus. So once I got that problem fixed, and now I've got the layout, is this section of track here, where it began the grade to head up on the straight to go up on the inner loop. The track was above the ground. The grade didn't work, and it looked funny. So I decided to get some sand and dump the sand over top of it to give it the ground that it needed. The train seemed to be going up the grade okay right here, so I put sand underneath it and glued it all down. Wasn't too worried about it, because when I go to put the ballast in, then I'll put the ballast over top of that and it'll blend in with the rest of it and the scenery and such, so I should be okay with it. But I fixed the glaring mistake that I had made over here, and so we'll run trains and make sure everything works okay. But it's good to have the sand underneath it, and I think that's a good fix as any, and we'll go from there. Let me show you the original plan. Here's the layout. And this plan was first seen in 1963 with the Railroad Model Craftsman magazine, and it set the foundation. But you'll see here, I've added my own spin to it. So from the paper to reality, I've added an outer loop, transforming this iconic plan. Now, the outer loop has 22-inch radius curves, and then I fixed the inner curves to also be 22-inch radius. My thought was I can run the passenger train through the middle, but I found that the grades make getting up the hill with those cars a little rough, so I'll probably just run the passenger train on the outside. But the 22-inch curves or radius makes it nice, and I can run my passenger trains, and I can run my J611 Queen of Steam, the Norfolk and Western So far, laying the track has been my focus. I want these trains to run smoothly, and when I got the trains running good, then I can move on to building buildings and doing switches and operations and that. But I'm still having some problems. I was having problems with the turnouts, and I found a way to fix that. And that's my next video, is a hack that I've learned on how to handle the turnouts. Now, one of the things that drew me to this plan with the Smuteye Central was the potential for fantastic operations. This layout has like 8 different industries on it. My wife says it looks crowded, and she's right, it is. But I also figure I'll be doing videotaping. I can get in tight on what I'm going to tape and run, so it works. It gives me, makes it look a lot bigger than it really is with the tight focus on things. And I added 2 more industries to the Smuteye Central than what were on the original plan. I put in the car chemical company, and I switched the lumber yard for a meat packing plant, which then enabled me to add another ranch for cattle, the Prescott cattle. And so the cattle cars can go there, pick up the cattle, bring them into Mike's Meat, where they're butchered, and we make hamburger and steak out of it. And then we can load the reefer cars with the meat and ship it off to market. So Mike's Meat will get cattle cars and reefer cars and probably coal cars to stoke the furnaces and ovens, and maybe even some tanker cars for fuel or lard or whatever I don't know everything that goes into it, but it's my railroad. I'll put the cars where I want. But I've got the ability to have different cars for that industry. With adding car chemical, I now can bring tank cars up in. I've got the foundry, so that takes gondolas and sand cars, and that the furniture factory will take on lumber cars and gondolas with metal in it to build furniture, and then box cars with other supplies, and then you can ship the furniture out on the 50-foot box cars. So that's going on there. I've got a trucking platform where I can pick up and send tractor trailers. I can also have other flat car come in there to load that. I've got Linda's Textiles for box cars. I've got the Barker Depot, which is a freight house, so I can bring in the reefer cars for fruits and cooled stuff of box cars. So there's some things that can be switched out here and there as well. So, and then of course there's Moria Mining, which has the coal cars come in and fill up, and then they go to a coal dumping station where they can be emptied. I can also ship them out to Port Rich. So there's lots of opportunities for operations on this layout, which is another thing that I really wanted to do. This tunnel leads to and from Port Rich. So this is the main line coming around, and then we have the turnoff coming into the yard. So this here is the arrival departure track next to the main line. They run parallel to each other. And then I have the yard right here, where we can classify the cars to the different places that they go on the inner loop or the branch. And the main line is the outermost track, and then the innermost track is the double loop that goes to the different industries. So the main line is basically a loop that goes around the entire layout. And this was the addition I made to the plan of the Smuteye Central because it did not have the outer loop. I added it because I wanted to have trains coming and going. And then this tunnel portal here goes up to Camas, and so that's the other line, so it goes to and from Camas. So that's how I bring trains on and off the layout. It's through the main line, and they come out of these tunnel portals either coming or going to the yard. And then there's a reversing loop here if I can get the trains to go the other direction, and they come out and they will go over here to Mike's Meats. What to do. So each part of this layout tells a story. But what's your story? Put in the comments down below some of your layout experiences and some thoughts that you have, and let's make this a community and a hub, this channel a hub for passionate railroading. Now, if you enjoy these presentations, please like and subscribe and hit that like button, and we'll get the word out for DCR Rails. And in my next video, we're going to talk about the turnouts. And I was having problems with derailments there with the turnouts. I think I've got a fix for that. And it'll be all about turnouts in our next video. And then we'll tackle a few other things. And hopefully I can start making operations videos. And I'll start scenery. And we can build buildings. So it's finally to the point where we can start modeling and that, because the track laying and the problem solving and that is about to come to an end, and the fun part for me is about to begin. So welcome to DCR Rails, and keep on keeping on.